And we're live. Hey guys, welcome to Whiskey, Wine, and Writing. I am your host, Natasha, here with 9 awesome YA mentors. This is the second YA chat, which is why it's YA Junior. So tonight we're going to get started with introductions, and hopefully you will have some questions ready for us by then with the hashtag of Pitchwars and WW Writing. That is 3 W's, RITING. So we're going to get started here with Tabitha. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Tabitha Martin. I'm repped by Laura Crockett at Triada US, and I am looking mostly for YA contemporary, the darker the better, and I do love a really good thriller that kind of punches me right in the gut.
Nice. Molly.
Hi, I'm Molly Lee. I'm represented by Jamie Bodner-Drowley of Inklings Literary Agency. I'm looking for young adult and new adult, but in the young adult genre, I'd really love something with an edge. It can be contemporary, paranormal, fantasy, anything that has that something that sets it apart and, like Tabitha said, kicks you in the gut. That's what I want too.
Awesome. Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan Grimmett. I'm represented by Mandy Hubbard at DeForio Literary, and this is my first Pitchwars. I'm super excited. I mean, as a mentor, anyway. I'm looking for dark and twisty young adult, like the really creepy kind of stuff, but I also love it when I'm really creeped out and then I'm laughing at the same time. Like, you know, it's super scary and then someone tells a joke and then I'm just like, oh, that's awesome. I love that. I'm looking for horror, psychological thrillers, sinister fantasy worlds, creepy historical fantasy, any of that like creepy cool mixture of stuff. I'm a Pride and Prejudice freak, so if your love interest is like Mr. Darcy, like I'm gonna freak out. And but basically, yeah, if you creep me out and then I'm laughing, you know, 2 pages later, then I'm totally yours.
Awesome. Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Maxwell. I'm represented by Kathleen Ruschel at Marzo Lion. I have a book out now called Sweet Unrest. The sequel to that is coming out in October. It's called Gathering Deep. And then I have my third book is out February 2016, and that is kind of a really dark, twisted Peter Pan retelling called The Stars Turned Away. So I'm looking for voice. Like, give me anything with voice, especially if it has kissing in it, and magic.
Kissing, magic, and voice. That's your 3 things.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Kelly.
Hey there, I'm Liz Humphreys. I'm represented by Sarah LaPala at Bradford Literary Agency, and I'm looking for YA, psychological horror, thrillers, creepy mysteries, anything that's going to make me want to close the book and open it at the same time.
Awesome. Jennifer.
Hey y'all, my name is Jennifer Hawkins. I am represented by the one and only Louise Fury at the Bent Agency. I write primarily YA, but I also write adult romance under a pen name. I'm co-mentoring this year with Kes Trester, who was my Jedi Master mentor last year. We are open to all YA except horror. We're chickens. We don't like the scary stuff. But we'd really love to see strong female lead characters, unreliable narrators, and subtle twists of magic.
Ooh, nice. Jay.
Oh, it's me. I'm Jay Robin Brown, and I'm represented by Alexandra Machinist of ICM Partners. My novel, No Place to Fall, is a YA contemporary that is out now. I have a novella coming out in April that's a companion to No Place to Fall, and then my second novel is coming out in the fall of 2016, and it's the L of LGBT contemporary novel. I am looking for contemporary, but I'm not so much looking for issue books this year. I just want something really lighthearted and fun and sort of heart-swelling. Bonus if it's LGBTQIA. I'm also looking for light sci-fi, and when I say that, I mean like Beth Revis's Across the Universe series, which had a really strong romance. Off Earth, Alexander Duncan's Salvage is a favorite, and I really like. I can't remember his name, but he wrote Black Hole Sun, which is set on sort of a terraformed Mars, and that was a really fun book. I love historical. I'm not really great at like research, so if you feel like that's something you need in your mentoring. I'm probably not the best mentor for that. However, if you feel like you've got your research and you need help with the story and the plot and the pacing, I love historical. I also love magical realism. Not so much fantasy for me or horror.
All right. Erica.
Hey, I'm Erica Chapman, and I'm represented by Krista Hutchke at Macintosh and Otis. This is always the hard part every year. This is my 4th Pitchwars, and I always go against whatever I say anyway, so I'm just going to say the same. I love voice. I love diversity. I love something that will keep me up at night, and I don't really care what that is. This year I'm pretty open to anything, which might be a mistake, but we're going to try it. And because I never know what I'm going to like until I actually read it. So give it to me.
Awesome. And Danny.
Hi, I'm Danny Morin. I'm represented by John Cusick with Folio Literary and Folio Junior. And I don't have any books coming out yet. We're working on that still. I'm on submission. Well, we don't talk about that, right? And I'm co-mentoring this year. This is my 3rd year mentoring, and I'm co-mentoring this year with Alexandra Alessandri, who was supposed to be my alternate in 2013. She was my alternate through most of the process, but she got an offer the day the blog hop opened, so we ended up having to pull her from the blog hop for a good reason. We are looking for realistic fiction. We want to stay away from high fantasy, high sci-fi, but not necessarily contemporary. We're okay with thrillers, but probably not horror. We're okay with, we really want diversity, but we want diversity that's out of the box, things that haven't been done yet, people with disabilities, cultures that we haven't seen. We'd love something with some mythology, like Incan mythology we've been talking about would be really cool, or something Middle Eastern, something that you just don't see a lot of. And that is pretty much it.
Awesome. All right, and guys, if you are just joining us, remember to hashtag us at WWWriting along with the Pitchwars hashtag with your questions. The mentors are going to be here answering your questions for the next hour, so whatever you have, toss it out at us, and we'll do our best to get to it. We actually do have our first question from JC Merrill, and I'm going to say this is probably, like, if you've mentored before, probably a good question for you guys to answer, because us newbies may not know this. So she asked, how many queries would a typical mentor each receive during Pitchwars? She's wondering if she has a shot. So Erica's nodding. I'll let Erica start that one.
Everyone has a shot. It's just like when you query an agent, you know, I'd say the average, oh gosh, it varies for me every year. I think I had about 70 or 80 last year, but I know people had more than that. But rest assured that we're taking this very seriously and that we're reading every single thing that comes in. And so every single person who submits to anybody has a shot. So please don't think that that's a reason to feel that way. So that's
awesome. Anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, I would say that it's really hard to predict. 2 years ago, my first year mentoring, I had a huge inbox. And last year I had a really small inbox because I said I just wanted, like, YA contemporary. So part of that is, you know, specific to the mentor and what they're looking for. And sorry, I'm still recovering from a cold, so I'm trying not to cough at you guys.
No
but at least you guys can't get my germs. You know, the thing that I think, at least for some of us, and this will again vary by mentor, you're going to get feedback from us anyway. And it might just be a couple sentences, it might be something a little bit longer than that. And by entering, if you get just that little bit of feedback, it might be helpful to you. So you don't lose anything by entering, even if you don't make it into the agent round. And the agent round is so minimal compared to everything else that happens. I mean, that's why I love Pitchwars. And it's so different from every other contest because the agent round is like probably the least important thing.
There's so much community in Pitchwars that if you get involved in, you have so many different opportunities that will just come out at you. But you have to look at it more than just an agent round. So, anybody else want to chime in?
I want to add, Jen Malone, who was a mentor in the past, she had a really good blog post that was floating around on the feed recently. And the thing she said is, like, you know, you go into a bookstore and you're presented with all these books and your budget allows you to buy one. And because of you can only pick one. And so even if you have 60 or 70 entries in your inbox, it just, you know, it really comes down to a matter of personal taste. So if you're entering, don't put too much weight if you don't get picked, because it really is very subjective. And just keep trying. I mean, there's so many people on this thread, Natasha included, who they entered, they didn't get picked as a mentee, and they went on to get an agent. So
it happens. So, all right. So next question from Monica H. Hoffman. She says, hi, Waves of Mentors. For the mentors taking sci-fi, what do you consider hard sci-fi and light sci-fi? So I'll share this really quick to find out who is taking sci-fi. Tabitha, are you doing sci-fi?
Nope.
All right. Molly, sci-fi?
I will take it as long as it's not so much to where, like, I need a dictionary to understand everything. That's just not for me because I'm not as versed in reading that hardcore sci-fi. So I probably wouldn't be the best mentor for you. So just
So
light
you're looking
sci-fi.
for more light. And what do you differentiate as light and, you know, hard?
Where the world isn't the driving factor, I guess I would say. It would have to be probably romance-driven or some other kind of plot-driven. In fact, not so much completely setting-driven, if that makes sense in the sci-fi genre.
Okay. Megan, taking sci-fi?
No, not this time.
Lisa?
I'll take it as long as the science isn't the part that's the driving factor, right? So you can be on a spaceship, that doesn't bother me, but like the spaceship shouldn't be the point, right? It should be the romance or the whatever kind of plot. So like lighter sci-fi.
So lighter sci-fi, and what do you consider hard sci-fi when it's more about like the technical stuff?
Yeah, when it's a lot about the tech or about the specifics of really high-end world building. If it's just humans in a place, then I'd probably be okay with it.
All right. Kelly?
No, no sci-fi, thank you.
No sci-fi?
Murder happening there, or...
Are you taking sci-fi? Sorry, you got jumbled.
No, no sci-fi.
No sci-fi. Okay. Jennifer?
Yes, we are taking sci-fi, but I want to echo what the others have said. As long as it's not like the main, like the science part of it isn't the main point, I guess. If it's romance-driven or quest-driven, or we'll be interested in looking at it.
Sounds good. Jay?
For me, it's I really like sociological sci-fi. I'm a huge Firefly fan. I'm a huge old school Star Wars fan. Star Trek fan. Sorry, I like Star Wars too. But
Jay and I need to have a movie marathon one day because you just mentioned everything I love. But go ahead.
Yeah. So I want like a big cast of characters. I want to see how they interact. I want them to be in space. I'm not so interested in like near future Earth sci-fi. I want them to be out. I want a new world. I want it to be really visual and exciting and quirky, and romance is great, or just a little romance, but all sorts of cool characters and cool settings and neat situations. So
awesome. Erica?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, yeah, I'm taking everything, so of course I did. I'm just kidding.
Do you have a preference for light or hard sci-fi?
Yeah, I'm going to co-sign what my fellow mentors said, because world building and me, we're kind of, it just depends. I love reading good world building, but I'm probably not the best mentor for anything like that, especially if it's set in space. But I do love sci-fi. I do. I love old school Star Wars, Star Trek too, but I kind of like the new ones with, the Chris Pine. But
awesome.
But
okay.
I do love sci-fi. So yeah, I would totally take it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, Danny.
We are basically the opposite of J-Ro. We want, if it is near sci-fi, we'd like that. It has to really be, there has to be something more to it than the sci-fi, though, because sci-fi is a really hard sell right now. So, there has to be something more to it in terms of maybe there's some some cultural stuff going on, or a character with a disability, something that would be more than just straight science. And then again, I would say near sci-fi would be things like Kimberly P. Chase's The Apollo Academy, even though that's new adult. It takes place in a setting that is not that different from ours. It's a really good book if you haven't seen it. And but so stuff like that, if it was sci-fi, it would have to. And the other thing too is, if you're not sure, hit us up on Twitter. Alexandra and I have been talking to people on Twitter for a week now about, would you be interested in this? And we've been answering those questions. We're happy to answer those questions.
Excellent. All right, also, I want to let everybody know that Brenda is helping me tweet because I'm trying to host, tweet, and ask questions. And she's so adorable. She's like, oh, I am so bad at this. I kind of keep watching and forgetting to tweet. So
everybody send everything.
She also she said it to send everything to Erica.
Oh, yeah. All right, so this next question I think we can get through pretty quick because I think you guys pretty much covered it already, but it's for those open to light sci-fi, does that include dramedy? And can you speak to your editing style? So feel free to shout out on this one if you have anything to add from what we were talking about before. If not, we'll move on.
Dramedy would be heavy comedy, or what are we talking about there?
Dramatic comedy, maybe? Yeah, Margot, if you're listening, could you clarify what you mean by dramedy? All I can think is dramatic comedy. That's really all I can think about. So while we wait on that, Kathleen S. Allen says, is anyone interested in YA gothic horror?
Me. I want it. Give it to me.
Megan's yes. I saw a few other nods. Lisa, were you nodding?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if it's voicey and more on the literary side than on the slasher gory side, then yeah.
Kelly, I saw you nodding.
I guess my question is what they mean by gothic horror.
Yeah.
I get that by a visual meaning, but how are you portraying that in the book? How are you portraying that with your voice? How are you portraying that in your imagery? But definitely, it sounds awesome.
Okay, awesome. So I think maybe, Kathleen, one of the things to do would be all these awesome mentors who are showing that they're interested in, maybe tweet to them directly to give them a little bit more information to see if it's something they're interested in. Sound good, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Erica's thumbs upping it. I mean, you got a lot of mentors here who are just give me. So it seems to me you got a pretty good grouping here for that. DS Domacia, so sorry if I said that wrong. Is it crucial for MCs to appear in the first pages, especially in sci-fi fantasy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're all in consensus, and I'm kind of with them on that. If we don't know who the characters are, we can't really get attached to anything.
Yeah.
Would you all kind of agree with that?
Well, if it's really about, you only have a few sentences to get that person to keep reading, and if you haven't introduced the main character and we don't know who to root for, there is, you need to give us somebody to root for, especially for people who like voice and character the most, like me. We need to be able to attach ourselves to them, and that's important. So that.
I'm also wondering if you don't have your characters on the first few pages, what do you have? Are you just scene setting? Because you want to get past the scene setting. You want something to be happening in that first chapter. Something needs to be going on that's going to draw the person in, and it can't just be describing your world in a sci-fi or fantasy setting. You're going to lose readers that way.
I mean,
absolutely.
I would say, though, that the one exception would be if, and I know some people hate prologues, I'm not one of those people, but if you had something that was like a teaser for the book as a whole, the one I'm writing now starts not with the main character, but it's a really short snippet. It's not a chapter. It's like an image of something that, yeah. So maybe, but it would have to be highly dramatic.
Yeah, there'd have to be something going on there. So, all right. So Lori Dennison says, are any of you partial to boy main characters?
Yes.
Right here.
I think everybody's nodding on this. Danny, oh, wait, here. Danny, go ahead. You're all about that. Go ahead.
We want boy books. I had a boy book on my team last year, and he's fantastic. The author is fantastic, and yes, we would love to have a boy main character with an authentic boy voice. We don't want a boy character who sounds like, and it could be a girl, we're not sure. We want boy books that are written targeted toward a boy audience.
Awesome. Anybody have anything to add to that?
I just want to say,
Kel, and then we'll go to Megan.
I was going to say, absolutely, I love boy books, especially in a horror or suspense thriller. It's a great to have a leading character like that, but again, he has to be captivating and multi-level. I love my jobs and my horror films who are one-dimensional, but in my books, I like them more layered.
Megan?
yeah, I was going to say, like either way, boy, directed a girl, whatever it's supposed to be there, as long as it's like awesome and it feels real. Like I don't care what's going on. I just want to feel that connection to it. So I'm open to both, whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I would say that just, if you've nailed the voice, boy or girl, that's going to keep us reading. So.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met somebody who's more partial to one, protagonist over the other. It's just about the voice and if that character is true. So I think you got a good mix here for that male protagonist, just so you know. Okay, so Ashley Graham says, "Grr, my mentor submit list is growing now." Sorry. I don't know what to tell you about that. Anna Mercier says, "Thanks to the Pitchwars mentors for making me feel welcome in this contest." That's all the lovely white mentors. She's talking to all of you. Aside from voice, what wins you over about a manuscript?
I'll chime in and say steaks.
All right, Molly, steaks. What kind of steaks?
The steaks.
I really like
pie.
Good.
Wait, who? Me?
Whoever was talking, Tabitha, go ahead.
Okay, I really love emotional conflict. Like I really want to feel what the character is feeling, like on top of their voice. Like I want to being in their head is their voice, but I want to feel what their heart is feeling, and I want to cry when they cry. I really want to cry. I should have said that earlier. So if you've got a really heartbreaking story, please send it my way, because I have this insane obsession with having my heart broken. So, but I really like emotional conflict.
I think we all have a problem with having our heart broken. Right. We like to read, and there's always something in the books before you get, whether you have a happily ever after or not, before you get there, something has to happen that's going to break your heart. So I think we all have a little bit of that going on. Anybody else want to chime in?
I will.
I love page turning tension. Like anything that makes me absolutely have to keep flipping to the next page, unable to put it down.
Awesome. Danny?
Yeah, I would say that the emotional conflict that was mentioned is really important, but so is the external conflict. There needs to be a plot, and the plot needs to have a good structure to it. That's something we can work on, and that's why we ask, Alexandra and I are going to ask for a synopsis from people we request pages from, because we're mean. But we really want to know that there's a plot to the story, that it's not completely character driven, but there's plot sells books, so.
But guys, don't get freaked out, because a lot of us are asking for synopsis, and it's not that we're critiquing your synopsis. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. We just need to know what's going to happen in your story, and that the plot and the arc and everything is there. That's the only reason we're asking for a synopsis, to make sure it's a complete novel.
I'm not going to ask for a synopsis, just so you know. I don't like them.
Can I add something to the question?
Of course.
Okay. So another thing, kind of on top of what everybody else has said, voice, stakes, just emotional resonance, is a really cool setting helps too, especially in contemporary. I read a PM notice the other day about a contemporary book that just sold, and the setting was that the protagonist's father had opened the first medicinal marijuana pharmacy in Michigan or something, and I thought, oh my gosh, what a great setup for a YA contemporary. And it's relevant to the news and stuff. I mean, I don't know, I just thought that's a really great setting for a YA contemporary. So cool settings, unusual, something that's relevant to the times is something that'll keep me reading too.
Awesome. All right, anybody else before we move on?
Funny, we want funny. You can make us laugh, you can win us over.
Awesome. All right.
I agree. Laugh. Yeah.
I think we all like to laugh a little sometimes, unless we're looking for the dark stuff. Like
Crap, my air
Marvel
conditioner
stuff.
just came on. Hold on.
Okay. I'm actually going to hop down the line for this one. Margot did come back and say that drama plus comedy is dramedy, so we were right about that. But she, since that was pretty much answered before, though, she does want to know a little bit about everybody's editing style. So I'm just going to clear down the list, and if you want to tell us a little bit about how you plan on, working edits and how your editing style works. Let's start with Danny this time. She always goes last when I go the other way. So Danny first.
Yeah, I'm a little bit brutal, is what I've been told, but in a good way, apparently. So if you're masochistic, apparently I'm the mentor for you. What I'll do is I usually do 2 rounds of editing, and the first thing I'm going to do is do a developmental edit. Developmental edit is looking at things like your plot, your stakes, your making sure that you have all your plot points in the right place, characterization, that kind of stuff. And then we'll go back once we know that we're going to keep the chapters and everything that were there. I'm going to go through at least the first 50 pages with you and go really, really thoroughly line edit. And Alexandra also, the cool thing about Alexandra is we've edited freelance together, and we have very different things that we look for. So I think the combination of us in terms of editing skills is really unique, because she just is really into world building, and I'm not so good at that kind of stuff, and she's so I think we together
it's 2
our
for the
editing
price of
styles.
1 if you wind up getting picked by Danny. Awesome.
Yes.
All right, Erica.
I won't do any line edits. I just they're not my forte, so it's all going to be developmental, and I usually do. It varies actually, depending on who I end up working with as a mentee. And so I will be very blunt about what I think could help, but I said in my bio, too, it's a partnership, and so if you don't want to do something that I say, that's perfectly fine with me. So, I do have an editing background, too, so I'll be critical of some things, but it's mostly going to be developmental for me. I'm not a line editor, so if that's what you're looking for. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Jay.
Me? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm not in order on the bottom of my screen, so I'm like waiting for Jennifer to go next. So for me, I will do an overall read, and I'll do kind of a big picture email, just kind of what I think about pacing and characters, and if I see things that maybe need to be cut or switched around. I'll also look for writerly tics, like is there something that you do that I could show you 1 or 2 examples, and then you could go through and change them on your own, and kind of set you on your way. And of course, I'll be there if you have questions and want to brainstorm and come back to me and say, hey, I don't know about this. And then if all of that gets done in time, then my intention would then be to do a line edit as far as we can get into it with the time allowed. And of course, work on the pitch and your query.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Jennifer.
We'll probably do what Kes did with me last year. She gave me overall notes on the plot. I actually had to rewrite the whole back half of my manuscript last year, and then she did line edits with me, so that's probably what we'll do this year as well.
Awesome. Kelly.
Hey, I have different plans for what I want to do. The first step is I want to read through it as if I'm a reader. What am I wondering? What am I missing out on? Where am I getting lost? And then I'm going to jump into it as the mentor, looking at the structure and the pacing and the tension and getting that as sharp as possible. So there's going to be several rounds on the same manuscript. First working through it as fresh eyes on it as any reader would have, and then really delving deeper into how I can help you with what I'm best at, which I believe is suspense and tension and pacing and stakes.
Awesome. Lisa.
So I have an editing background as well, and it'll probably be a pretty thorough edit. I always start from kind of idea that it's the author's book, so I tend to give like lots of ideas. Like, here's the problem, but here are 2 or 3 ways that you could think about fixing it. We'll probably do, my edit letters are long usually, because I'll go through everything from pacing to individual character stakes in the kind of first round, and then line edits too. But honestly, I probably wouldn't pick a book that needed really heavy line edits. I teach grammar for a living, so if that's already shaky, that's probably not going to be a match for me. But yeah, kind of really in-depth. You'll probably get line comments, in-text comments from me on every round. So.
Awesome. Megan?
I am also a big fan of the in-text comments. Like, I will be giving like a big overall view of what I think needs to be changed, and I'm also big on going back and forth on that stuff. Like, hey, why don't you do this? And oh no, what about this, 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 and this? Like, I get 7 million ideas, and usually one of those things they're like, oh, or I could do this thing, and my crappy idea gives them an awesome idea, and then it works. And so I'll run with that, and then afterwards I'll go through and just do like the comments all the way through, like, oh, this is awesome, maybe change this, and that way you kind of get to see like a running commentary of what I'm seeing as I'm reading it, and that's been really helpful to my CPs in the past and stuff, and so I'll probably be doing that.
Sweet. Molly?
I agree with Megan. I would do a full in-depth critique, and I do use a lot of comments, and I always tell my mentees not to worry that if there's 10 comments on a page, it's not a bad thing. Because I like to comment on the strengths too, so maybe that when the revision process they can bring more of that up, pull on it. And I'm a big stickler on pace. I also am a big stickler on believability. I want to believe that your characters are doing this action for their arc, I don't like things out of left field. I don't like whiplash, so I will call you out on that, but it's all for the greater good. I'm lucky I've got to do this for 4 years, and I have a great group of CPs that keep me sharp on this. So I'm really into brainstorming too. Like, I'll do Skype sessions or emails, whatever the mentee is comfortable with, and getting it there. So
awesome. Tabitha?
Like Molly and Megan, I will definitely do the in-depth overall. My big stickler is I'm a stickler for continuity, so I'm always looking for the red bicycle that turns blue. And I love catching those mistakes. And then after the overall in-depth, I'll definitely do line edits. I really enjoy doing line edits. So, and like Molly said, I want to be there for my mentees, Skype, phone, email, whatever they want to do, I'm totally comfortable with. I want this to be a partnership. So we'll work together on the editing.
Awesome. So Dimitri Varicchio, he says, are mentors also thinking about the market potential sales, or do they only care if the manuscript rocks their world? So who wants to chime in?
I don't care about the market, honestly. I mean, I feel like if the book is strong, I do care about the market. I want to sell books, but I feel like a good book, like a great book, will find a place at some point. It'll get you an agent, and even if it doesn't sell, it'll be a second book. Or so for me, I would turn down a book that I don't think is marketable if it's amazing and it really captures me.
Awesome.
I don't know market. I mean,
I'm the opposite. I am looking for marketability. I spent a long time, not a long time, but a little bit of time, talking to my agent before we did our wish list about what was hot right now, what was selling at the conferences he's been to, and who the editors he's been networking with. And so a big portion of what we've narrowed our wish list down to is so basically blame John Cusick if your genre is not on our wish list, other than horror, because we're just chickens. But yeah, so no, I do look at marketability, because I think that part of our responsibility, our first responsibility, is to our mentee and making sure that their book is the best it can absolutely be. Our second responsibility, though, is to the agents that are participating and giving them what they're looking for. And so I think that has to factor in, like, if I've got a really awesome manuscript and it's just not, it's paranormal romance, and I've got a really awesome manuscript that's, contemporary fantasy, urban fantasy, the urban fantasy is selling right now, and the paranormal romance isn't selling right now, or not as well. So I would just, if I had a tough choice to make, the market would definitely factor in.
Anybody else have anything to add?
If I believe in your book, I believe it's marketable.
I think, yeah.
So I think in this particular instance, though, it's probably going to come down to each individual mentor. So whichever mentors you're thinking of subbing to, shoot them a tweet and be like, are you going to factor this in? Is this, what you're thinking about? So you can actually ask these guys individually on Twitter. That's why their Twitter handles are all here for you. So, all right, so Molly Clough says, for the mentors taking contemporary, what are some of your favorite contemporary books or authors?
Ooh.
Like asking, that's so hard.
I've got one.
Go ahead.
I love Jennifer Eccles. I love her books, and I've just recently fallen in love with what's her name? Crap.
That lady who does this thing.
She wrote this summer. No, what is it called? Since you've been gone, I think it's Morgan Madsen. I just really have fallen in love with her books recently, and I'm forgetting people. Huntley Fitzpatrick. I like Katie. Katie. Something.
Wait, are you Cotugno?
What?
Katie Cotugno, How to Love in 99 Days.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh,
Yes.
How to Love. That's such a good book. I could go on and on and on and on, but
Me
Jennifer
too.
Eccles has always been Going Too Far is like one of my
I
favorite
love that
books of
book.
all time. I'm just a John After fan, and I just love it's John, right? John After.
See what happens when you get writers talking about the books they read. This could go on all night.
Well, I will stop there.
My favorite contemporary is Jellicoe Road by Melina Marchetta. I just can't. I put off reading this book for a really long time, but my best friend kept telling me over and over and over, please just read this book. And I was totally lost for the first 100 pages, but I think that's one of the things I actually love about it. And everybody says if you read this book, you don't know what's going on for 100 pages. But I think that's what I actually really love, because you get to like page 102 and you're like, oh my God, everything makes sense now. I get it. And I really love that. But I love that it's heartbreaking. Again, I love the heartbreaking. But it's such a phenomenal story. And I've never really read anything else like it. So I love that one.
Awesome. Anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, I'll chime in. I really love Nina LaCour. She is incredible, just smart and diverse books. A.S. King also just really brilliant. Emery Lord, who her first book came out in 2014, she writes the most amazing dialogue. It's fantastic. So.
Awesome. So, let's go with Jennifer.
I love J. Robin Brown. No Place to Fall was my favorite YA contemporary this year. It was fantastic. I love it. And I also love Jandy Nelson. And I'll second Emery Lord. She's a really good one.
You could just tell everybody's nodding their head. Molly.
Oh gosh, that's so hard. I'm really into Rachel Harris right now, and Lizzie Charles is a mentor this year. She's got amazing young adult contemporary, Effortless with You. Love it. Such a good book. Such a sweet, fun read, and the emotion is there. So yeah, I would check her out. She's a great mentor too.
Sweet. Megan.
I'm not big on contemporary. A lot of stuff that I read is stuff that other people have just said, hey, you need to read this a lot. Like Dahlia, she does a lot of those recommendations. And aside from her books, which I love her books too, aside from her books, I also really love Emery Lord as well.
Awesome. Danny.
Alexandra and I both, when we were talking about who to put on our list of favorite authors, we both right away said Meg Medina. Yaki Delgado is Gonna Kick Your Ass is one of my favorite books, YA books, young YA books ever. We also like E. Lockhart. The name of the book is totally slipping my head, guys. Help me.
We Were Liars.
We Were Liars. If you have a We Are Liars, we would love to see something like that. And then I always put in, even though I'm totally biased, Megan Miranda, who's a good friend of mine, on kind of the thriller side of the contemporary.
Awesome. Kelly.
Well, yeah, as I was sharing before, A.S. King, totally. I get into suspense and horror and thrillers, but I'm constantly feeding my brain with A.S. King because her voice is brilliant and her teens are dead on real. And they're captivating, and they're suspenseful, and they're dark, and they're twisted, and they're just like every teen's real life. It's brilliant.
Awesome. Lisa.
I'm not specifically looking for contemporary, but if it was something that was just really wonderful, I loved J. Robin Brown's No Place to Fall. I loved Joy Hensley's Rites of Passage. Was like my heart was in my throat the whole time I read it. Jason Reynolds, The Boy in the Black Suit. So if you have especially diverse characters or situations that don't necessarily get represented in contemporary, and you've written it just so beautifully that I read it with my heart in my throat, then I would definitely take it. Or romance, like Jennifer Eccles, Memory Lord stuff's great. So yeah, all of those.
Awesome. All right, did I hit up everybody? Yes? All right, cool. So M. Jurgen says, would you be interested in a mentee if their manuscript had been read by reputable agents? Is that worth mentioning?
Just read by it, or like how many? No?
Workshopped or critiqued, or just read?
Or, yeah, like a query.
Verbal manuscripts requested.
I think this has been touched on before. Like, if it's been seen by a lot of the agents that are on Brenda's blog. Like, if you've already submitted to them, been rejected, you might want to mention that because it's just a matter of the list at that point. But I mean, if you were out there with other agents, again, it's subjective. It's just because that one agent said no doesn't mean another agent's going to say no. It's different. So.
For me, it depends on how many. If you've done a good round of queries already, then I don't know what else I could do for you, because you can't resubmit to those agents. So if you've already submitted to your top 10, 15, if you submitted to like one, that would be one thing. But if you've done a round of queries, I don't know that I would, just because I would be looking for someone that even if the agents in this contest passed, you could still query widely with it. You're ready to go.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to add?
I would just say that, there are, I can think of one mentee in particular last year who had queried widely, and she still got chosen. And this contest has such a good reputation for really taking manuscripts and taking them to the next level that she ended up getting agented with a manuscript that she had queried widely, and now, and I'm sorry, I'm not forgetting her name, but I'm forgetting her name, but she's a mentor this year. And so I think it is something we would all take into consideration and maybe have like a moment of pause, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you'd be out of the running, because I think agents are willing to take a second look at Pitchwars manuscripts.
Absolutely. That was well said.
Yes.
I agree.
I think that some mentors have said they'll be asking for your query history. So I guess the ones who are going to be more interested in that are going to wind up asking you before they take you on as a mentee. So some might ask, and again, you can always ask individual mentors if that's something they're going to be looking at.
But it's also the case that a lot of times somebody puts their foot in the water and they think that they're ready to submit, but then they realize they're not. So then that's why Pitchwars is perfect for them to get the manuscript to the level that it needs to be.
All right.
I also think if we're going to overhaul it and rip it apart and put it back together, and possibly look at a new title, then that's a different manuscript. So, it depends.
All right. So then we're moving on to Maggie Ellerston. I am so bad at pronouncing names, guys. I am so sorry. YA mentors. What's your favorite characteristic in a dreamy romantic lead? What turns you off?
I'll go.
Paused.
I'll go. I really love what turns me on is a romantic lead who challenges the other. For me personally, I'm not the one who's like, one's completely dominant and the other is super submissive. I like characters that build off each other, that become better together when they're challenging each other. That's what I really, really love. And for me, what turns me off is I can't stand a weak heroine. I just can't. I need my strong girls there, and I need them to challenge those boys, and especially in young adult, for me personally. So if you're going to submit to me, give me those Buffy girls. I need those.
I'm with Molly on that one. I'm not repping YA, but yeah, I'm the same. I don't like the weak female protagonist. Drives me bananas.
Yeah, me too.
All right, who's next?
I put on my bio that I like Stiles Stilinski from Teen Wolf, and I stand by that. I think he's the right combination of kind of dorky, but also sexy and also funny. So I like them funny. I like them, you know, they don't have to be. I like them mysterious too, but I think that they have to have a sense of humor to, you know, I think everybody should have a sense of humor. So.
And what turns you off?
What turns me off? I guess really macho guys. I'm not. For me, I don't. You know, they don't.
The overly alpha males.
Yeah, like they could have like the alpha facade, but then inside be all like deep and dreamy, and that would be okay. But if they're actually like macho all the time and they're really arrogant and kind of like, then. But then I don't know why your MC would actually go for that person.
All right, Lisa, you're up.
I like the bad boys. I like the ones you can't take home to mom, but who aren't complete a-holes in real life. Like underneath, they have a reason for why they act the way they act, and it's logical and legitimate. Give me like the Darklings or the pirate that's coming in my book, or right. I mean, so I like that the kind of dark underbelly, but not like the turnoffs would be like domineering or abusive or the complete alpha that just is so sexist that you can't. Like, I want somebody that can challenge my heroines, right? And,
awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Kelly.
Well, I like romance because I tend to like suspense and hard thrillers, and it's not romance focused. I like romance to be honest, which means often awkward, mixed with a lot of good intent, mixed with a lot of wrong moves, mixed with a lot of and also wow. You know, I think how it actually happens with your team. It's not smooth at all.
Can I add something? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It doesn't have to be a man-woman either. I gave that as an example, but I don't want you to not submit to me if you have like any LGBTQ. Feel free to do that. I was just using that as an example because I think Stiles is awesome, but I want to make sure that you know that that is not what my intention was before I go.
Okay, Megan.
I don't really have any specific things. Like I really do like the bad boy thing, but I also really like the funny thing, and I like the I like seeing love interests that are like musically inclined in some way because that's kind of really neat to me. But also, it's more about how natural it is. Like I don't want to see two characters that just fall in love because that's what the author wanted them to do. Like I want things to happen that build up on that, so then it's like it's really believable, and you've kind of are falling in love with this person, whatever their trait is, or whatever, however they act, whatever they're doing. I want it to be real, and I want to feel it, and that's like my only real specific thing that I want out of that.
Awesome. And turnoffs?
People who are like complete assholes for no reason. They're just assholes because they're assholes, and then there's that main character that's just like, oh my god, maybe they'll just change for me. Maybe I'll be the one that will make them better. And then I'm just like, nope, close the book. I'm done.
Awesome. Danny.
Yeah, I'm kind of anti-bad boy lately, just because I think it's been done so much recently. So I would actually rather have the bad boy be the main character, and have the love interest be. I love friends to lovers, or friends to boyfriend girlfriend, I guess, because that's why. Friends, that kind of relationship where the relationship changes and has some history to it. And I like smart characters. I want, I don't want either of them to be dumb. I want the girls to be strong, and I want the boys to be strong and vulnerable, but also really intelligent and dramatically flawed at the same time.
Turn-offs?
The bad boys.
Just the bad boys, nothing else?
The strict bad boys. I write bad boys, so it's kind of hypocritical, but like I really want there to be a reason for it. Like there has to be a good reason, and that's why I say the main character more than the love interest, because we'll get in the character's head and understand why they're a bad boy or bad girl. And that's, to me, is more interesting than having them as a love interest and taming.
Okay, awesome. Jennifer.
I love the friends to lovers trope also. I kind of just want to co-sign what everyone else has already said. It has to be believable. Turn-offs would be someone at the opposite end of either spectrum, like too macho or too wimpy. Like I don't want Edward Cullen, but I don't want PETA either. You know.
All right, awesome. And
can I
Tabitha?
add something?
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Wait.
my gosh,
1 second, Tabitha. Go ahead, Ed. And then we'll let Tabitha
I was
go.
just going to say Eleanor and Park is a perfect example of the kind of relationship I love.
Okay.
Eleanor and Park.
Gotcha. Tabitha, go ahead.
I really love like nerdy, skinny video game dork playing boys. Like Seth Cohen from the OC. If he was in any book that got submitted to me, I would just swoon to death. But I mean, I pretty much like anything. I'm not a big fan of the bad boys, and I really hate cocky characters just for the fact that they're cocky. Like it's unnecessary. It just drives me crazy. And sexism, I'm not a fan of that. But I'm pretty open to anything. But like Danny said, there has to be a reason for like anything. Like if you're a bad boy, there needs to be a reason for it. So.
Awesome. Jay.
I really like characters who are sort of like on the fringe of society. They're just really creative types or really nerdy types, and I like when there's more of a partnership. Like each of the people in the relationship kind of brings unique things that they appreciate in each other, and that relationship grows. And like everybody else, totally not a fan of the alpha guy. Not for me.
All right, I got everybody, right? Yes? All right, cool. So we have time for one more question. This is kind of anybody can shout it out. Do you guys have a preference between first, third, present, or past tense?
Just needs to be well written and your voice.
I'm seeing a lot of nods. Does anybody have anything to add to that?
The voice is more important than whether or not it's first or third person, and I think it also depends on the story. To have a first-person narrator, there needs to be a reason for that. To have a third-person narrator, there needs to be a reason for that. Present or past doesn't really matter to me.
Okay.
I would go to say that second person is not something to submit to me. If you have a second person, I know that that's pretty rare, but
unless you're Aaron Morgenstern, you know, Night Circus, love that book. Sorry.
I just can't get into it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I love that book.
All right.
All right. So we are at the end of the hour, so I'm going to tier you guys so that you can do any closing comments, say whatever you didn't get to say, and just put it out there. So let's go ahead and start with Molly.
Oh, great. On the spot. Okay. Like I said, I've been very blessed to do this for 4 years. I really love going through all your submissions. I give each submission the same amount of time. I know some mentees really worry about that and think that we just gloss over them. And also, if I see merit in your writing that might not be for me, I will pass it on to another mentor. So know that. Like, know that if it's there and you submit to me and maybe we weren't a good connection, I will send it on because we do recognize great writing. So I'm very excited to see what you guys have. So
awesome. Megan.
I think it's really important to just enjoy the contest, because if you look at the statistics and you see that there's 1,200, 1,500 people that are entering and only 100 mentors, there's going to be a lot of people there who don't get picked. And so to look at those and then be like, okay, well then everyone who doesn't get picked, they get nothing out of it. That should not be the way that you look at it. You should be sucking up all the advice that you can out of the feed, the Pitchwars feed, and on these chats and stuff. You should be making connections and finding critique partners and getting everything you can out of this. And also, there are a lot of mentors who are giving feedback, myself included, and I'm going to try to give as much as I can. It'll depend on how many people submit to me, because this is my first year. I have no idea. I could get 2, but if I only have 2 people, you're getting like 7 pages, I swear to God. But I do really want to try to help everyone that submits to me, and that's a thing that I've seen echoed from a lot of different mentors and stuff. So I don't want everyone to just focus directly on that aspect of it, like, oh, if I don't get picked, then the world is ending, because that's not how it is at all.
Awesome. All right, Lisa.
This is my first year, so I'm not really sure what to expect from it. But I would just echo what everybody else is saying, is that if you don't get picked, it's just one thing, right? So that you can still query and you can still get critique partners and reach out to, like, I'm happy to talk to anyone on Twitter that has questions about writing, even if they're not picked as a mentor. So keep in mind that this is just one way in, because I didn't do any contests and did just fine. So,
All right, Kelly.
This is also my first year mentoring, and the reason why I'm doing it is because I had two amazing mentors who just totally took me under their wing and helped me out. And if you're wondering if you should try, you should always try in life. That should be always. And then should you and I work together, I'm just going to be there for you. We're going to work together on your book, and we're going to make it the best book that you want it to be. It's not about how I see the book, it's about helping you make the best book possible. And I'm really excited to do that for someone.
Awesome. Jennifer.
This is also my first year. I'm co-mentoring, so I would say just make friends and get CPs. I met almost all of my CPs in this competition. I entered in 2013 and did not get in, and I'm co-mentoring this year. So definitely just use the opportunity to meet people and to make those connections.
Awesome. Jay.
I just wanted to say that for me, it took my 6th manuscript before I actually sold a book. So don't give up. If you don't get picked, try not. You may need to back away from Twitter for a day or two to sort of lick your wounds, and that's good. But come back to the feed. Cheer the other people on. Keep being a part of it, because you'll just gain so much from it.
Perfect. Erica.
Yeah, this is my 4th year, and I've watched this grow into what it is today. And I think the community is the biggest part, and what makes it so popular is the idea of getting together with all these different people with the same goal, which is meeting new people and getting your book to where you want it to be. And I think it's, you can tell because the amount of mentees that have become mentors this year and last year, and it's like a cycle of awesome that happens, and it's such a cool thing to watch and to be a part of. And so even if you don't get picked, this is just the beginning of the journey that you're going to make. So enjoy every second.
True words. All right, Danny.
I just echo what Eric was saying. This is my 4th year participant. In my first year, I was an alternate, and and Alexandra also has been on both sides. So we and I think I said this before, that the agent round is like seriously the least important part of this, because it's not like you can't query the agents that are in the agent round if you don't get into the agent round. So just enjoy the journey. Enjoy meeting people. Step away when you need to step away, because especially like the day before we announce and when we start teasing like what we're reading our inbox, every manuscript is yours. So just take a step back, but make connections with the other writers, because I met Brooks through Pitchwars 4 years ago. I met a lot of the mentors that are mentors now. We kind of have grown up together. So it's a family, and it's our own kind of weird culture. And for me, that's the best part. So enjoy it.
And Tabitha.
I don't really know what else I can say that hasn't already been said, but to kind of echo what Jay and Danny said, sometimes you do need to take a step back from Twitter, but don't disappear completely, and don't punish people that got picked when you didn't get picked, because this community is invaluable. And I entered Pitchwars like 2 years ago, and I did not get picked, and I was so upset, but I got an agent with a different book on a cold query. So sometimes people don't get picked and you still get an agent. But just the feedback and the relationships and the connections that you make in this community are invaluable, and you'll never find them anywhere else. Like, these are your people. They understand that you don't like to shower every day and that you never want to get out of bed. Like, these people don't exist, except here. And it's amazing, the community that Twitter provides, especially within Pitchwars. So just use all of these connections to your advantage, and don't disappear if you don't get picked, because you've written this book, you're entering this contest, you have taken a giant leap. So just hold on to that.
Awesome. Sorry, guys, my allergies started going bananas. I had to keep muting my mic to sneeze. So, you know, I don't know why, of course, the last few minutes of the show. But Brenda also wants me to let you guys know. She's like, it was a joke. Apparently, she tweeted earlier and said, send everything to Erica. And she was like, no, it was a joke because Erica said she would take everything. But she wanted me to tell you it was a joke, so she didn't have to tweet you guys individually.
Thanks, Brenda. Thanks for that. I'm gonna get like 1,000 now. I will read every single one. You don't have to worry about that. Every one of them.
All right. So tomorrow night we have a mentor mashup. It's going to be mentors from multiple categories that will be on. That post will go live in an hour, so you'll be able to get a head start on who the mentors are going to be on tomorrow night. And then we will have our final show before the Monday submissions Friday night, and Brenda's going to be joining us that night, and we will have a party and party down and talk to the mentors. So you guys have a wonderful night. Write creatively, drink responsibly. Thank you all the YA mentors for being here, and y'all have a great night.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thank you.